right. I'm with JIJO Reed, founder CEO of Sugar Studios. Hi, JIJO. How you doing?
Great. How are you, Alan?
Oh, not bad. Yeah, excited to talk to you. Sugar Studios. You guys kind of sponsored our award, this grand prize, and I want to thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. That was a great time. Love the
Yeah,
style of your ceremony and the whole vibe of Film Thread. It's a nice departure from a lot of these more stuffy, regimented, you know, film sponsored ceremonies. So love the attitude.
oh, absolutely. Well, I mean that's what we're here for, and we've got one
Yeah.
next award this soon. It's probably going to be in December, January at some point, but
Okay.
we're on that path. But yeah, I actually wanted to talk to you about Sugar Studios and kind of get an idea of what you guys do and your mission. And if you can give me the brief synopsis, then we can talk about it from there.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. It's basically we're a post-production, all-inclusive post-production facility in Los Angeles. The model for the facility and the company and the mission has been definitely focused on independent, long-form independent film. So I took the model of my background is in trailers, throughout the
Mhm.
90s and early 2000s. I spent all my time producing and working in trailer facilities, having some trailer companies of my own. And so the model for these trailer companies is basically there's editorial. Well, first of all, it's a creative agency, it's editorial, it's color, it's sound, it's visual effects, it's everything all under one roof. And that's something that isn't often prevalent in the actual film post-production space. Typically, filmmakers will go to a color facility in Santa Monica or Burbank or Hollywood, and they'll go to a sound house somewhere else and visual effects company over here and dailies over here and editorial facilities all in different locations. So what I did was what we all did was create this company where everything is under one roof. So we have full editorial, we have full color, we have full audio teams, and visual effects artists and producers, and also we do deliverables as well. So
Yeah.
it's basically a sort of a refuge for independent filmmakers that don't need to travel all around town to find the best talent, and it's all under one roof, and it's been working out great for us. So,
Yeah.
and the
Well,
filmmaker and our clients as well.
yeah. I mean, let's speak to that in terms of our audience, our independent filmmakers. A lot of them micro budget. Um, you know, what should they do to? What's the best way to reach out to you guys and see what kind of help you can offer them?
Well, first of all, our website is sort of the first stop for a lot of people, sugarstudios.com. And we're ranked pretty highly on Google. So if you type in Los Angeles post-production, we'll show up in the top of the list there. That's basically how most people reach us. Well, actually, most people reach us. Most of our clients are referrals or
Mm-hmm.
repeat business. But for new clients, they usually find us through searching online or perhaps asking somebody that they know in the film industry, in the independent film world. If they know us, they sometimes end up here in that respect.
Yeah, and let me ask the basic question. But at what point in the process for a filmmaker would it be best for them to contact you guys?
Um, you know, it depends on to what extent we're helping out with the production, but a lot of times we get involved in the pre-production stage, because if we're doing the dailies for the film, we need to have conversations with the DP and the DIT on set to just create a workflow and streamline a workflow for dailies. And so if we're doing editorial and dailies, then we'll get involved before production. And typically, that's when we interface with the actual people of the crew, like I said, the DP or the DIT. However, producers will often need to lock in their post for their investors or for financial reasons, they'll need to know, where their post is headed prior to even production or during production. So, it's pretty early in the process. But then again, we've had a lot of films come through here that have already been edited, and we're just being brought in to finish the film. So there's no real, common time, but it really just depends on what we're doing for the film.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it comes down to planning. If you're a filmmaker, you want to have as much of the pieces in place before you go into production. But
definitely,
like if you're looking for something like fixing audio and color, it sounds like you're a great place to kind of come to whatever process, but obviously sooner.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right.
And oftentimes, also a lot of filmmakers will be, in editorial on their film, but then a film festival will come up, and they realize, oh well, they're not gonna, the schedules can sometimes get compressed if they're in the middle of an edit schedule, and then all of a sudden they're saying, oh man, we want to get into AFM or submit to AFM or submit to Cannes or submit to South by or TIFF or whatever these festivals. So there are times where we have to put the fast track on certain things, perhaps get a trailer together for the filmmakers so that they can show to buyers but there are times where we've had to sort of do it sort of a temp finish on a movie for submission to a film festival, even before it's like finally locked. But it's all kinds of deadlines pop up during the post process that are sometimes unanticipated. All
right, so let's talk about you for a second. You have a infamous grandfather, which I have heard he was definitely a part of my childhood growing up.
Right on.
Yeah. So tell us about Alan Reed.
Yeah. So Alan Reed, my grandfather, was the voice of Fred Flintstone. That's what he's best known as, Fred Flintstone. And he was also an actor. A lot of people don't know it, but he was in quite a few films and a lot of TV appearances. And like he was in Breakfast at Tiffany's. He was in The Postman Always Rings Twice, Viva Zapata. So he was a very accomplished actor, but definitely became a household name he did. Alan Reed's not a household name, but definitely Fred Flintstone is. It was pretty cool growing up with Fred Flintstone as your grandfather. Yeah.
I mean,
so
I'm going to delve into this. I'm just fanboying here, but I mean, is it like coming over to the house once in a while and, he's there and then you're asking him to do stuff, or was he pretty low key about it? Or, what was his attitude toward it all?
Well, put it this way, when I was 5 years old, he came to my birthday party dressed in a Fred Flintstone outfit. He had a Fred Flintstone costume from a parade appearance or something. And he showed up at my birthday party, and my friends literally thought my grandfather was Fred Flintstone, because he's wearing the costume and he's speaking in the Fred Flintstone voice with this costume. So, yeah, I was definitely the hero at that birthday. But he was a great man. He was low key, very smart, had a lot of friends. And my grandmother was a dancer, and they were kind of the quintessential, Hollywood couple. They lived up on Queens Road off of Sunset Boulevard in the Hollywood Hills, and I was very fortunate to experience that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that they were definitely part of, for lack of a better word, old Hollywood. For sure.
I
guess maybe on the tail end of the studio system, and then I imagine as smaller studios began breaking out, like Desilu and everything, that's when the Hollywood began to change.
Yeah, and it's definitely it's changed a lot throughout the years, but they definitely hold a place in that era.
Wow.
But but also not as like the A-list recognizable, actor. So he was
Mhm.
very free to move around and be very involved, and because he had the type of face that um, people would recognize, but sometimes you'll see a character actor and you're like, I don't know his name, but I know the
Yeah.
face. So that was definitely what he got a lot. And also, now that we're talking about family, on my
Yeah.
mother's side, Fred Alan Reed is on my father's side. On my mother's side, we had an uncle named Hermes Pan, who was also in the movie industry. He was a fantastic choreographer, and he did all of the Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movies. So
Hmm.
he's done, close to 100 movies as a choreographer. So he really lived quite a glamorous Hollywood-style life up there on Cherokee, and he was friends with Rita Hayworth and Betty Grable, and like he was quite renowned in his own right as a choreographer. So,
Yeah. Were you old
people
enough
ask
to
me,
like?
you know,
Oh, I was gonna say,
yeah,
were you old enough to like pick their brains and stuff, or were you too young to really understand the business at that time?
yeah, definitely was too young for on the business side. I mean, I always knew that they were, special in their careers, um, and it was interesting with my uncle Tio or Hermes. Um, if he would get recognized in public, it was either people didn't know who he was at all, or the people that did know who he was were like just floored to meet him. There was no like in between. It
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh yeah, I've heard of you, I know who you are. It was literally, I mean, he was quite special. I mean, he even choreographed Cleopatra, the movie Cleopatra, like
Oh
all
wow.
the extras, thousands of extras that he not as really dancing, but he had something to do. I mean, he was a credited choreographer on Cleopatra, but it had to do a lot with managing and choreographing thousands of extras. And
Hmm.
so when his name would come up in credits for big productions like that, where there was hundreds of talent, when his name came up as it said Hermes Pan, a lot of people thought that it was like a troupe, like a group of choreographers. Like that was the title of a choreography team, because of the fact that they didn't understand that one man or one person could, manage all of that work and all of those people. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I have a grandfather who ran a restaurant, a Chinese restaurant in Beverly Hills,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, and we it's kind of funny, but he has all these photos of people who went to his restaurant, and you look around, and I don't know who any of these people are, but they look familiar. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's
because
so
his
cool.
restaurant in Beverly Hills, so it was like near Paramount, near MGM,
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah. All right, so then
Yeah.
how? I assume Hollywood stayed in the family, uh, to your
Yeah,
parents and then to you.
I'm not. No, I am my mother's an artist, a painter. I mean, she did actually work as a sort of an editor, promo assistant, and editorial in the editorial department of the promo department at Disney. And my father got in was in specialty advertising. So I'm the only one that kind of got into the film industry um, in my immediate family. Um, and it was just a fluke. It had nothing to do with the
Hmm.
connections of my grandfather or my uncle. It was just a fluke. I needed a job. I was a waiter at Jerry's Deli. I was trying to be an actor. I was, in my early 20s, and a job opportunity came up in a trailer company in Beverly Hills to be a driver, a messenger, to shuttle
Hmm.
tapes back and forth to the studios. And then I just grew within the industry that way. I just sort of worked myself up the ranks, learning about post production and the process of theatrical marketing, and then got into post supervising and ended up opening up a company, and then merged that company with a company called Union Editorial in Santa Monica, and then I started Sugar Studios, 12 years ago, and that's basically how it happened. It didn't have anything to do with
Your family.
my family, but they've always, of course, supported me and was always, you know, very,
Yeah.
very supportive of me. And plus my wife, you know, we started this company together, my wife and I. So it's been, I've had 2 other companies in the past, but this has by far been the most rewarding of my past companies, and the busiest. And obviously in large part because I had a team, you know, my wife helping out and supporting, and you know, where I lack, she fills in, and you know, where she lacks, I fill in. So she's, you know, we work really well together, and
Yeah.
we're rocking and rolling over here.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine. Well, yeah. Let me ask this question then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now that we've gone through the pandemic and the strikes, you know, what
Mm-hmm.
is business like? Is it you know, I think the impression is it's difficult, that Hollywood's definitely cut back, and you're kind of on the independent end. What's your sense of where Hollywood is at today, business wise?
Well, I got to tell you, you know, we're kind of in a bubble here at Sugar. I feel bad because I don't want to sit here and tell you how busy I am. I mean, you know, obviously I want to tell you what's going on and everything, but I know a lot of people are out of work, and production is definitely taken a big loss since the pandemic and the strikes for TV series and major studio pictures. But you know, fortunately, in the space that we're in independent film space, and the relationships that we have, we've been fortunate to not really feel the pinch, and we're just blessed in a lot of ways. I mean, we even got it was very fortunate even during the pandemic, right before the pandemic hit. Um, you know, we signed a deal to do post production on a 10-episode series that had just wrapped in, I think, February of 2020. It wrapped
Mhm.
shooting 10 episodes, and our deal was to do all of the post and all of the finishing on 10 episodes, and it really carried us through that first year. And then we were also fortunate enough to get a couple of films that were shot. Couple of the only small indie films that got shot during the pandemic, one in Mexico, and so we were able to survive. It was very thin, you know, especially during lockdown, a lot of remote editing and so forth. But we managed to keep everyone together during the pandemic, and also now, you know, we're very fortunate. We're working on, you know, at any given time between 10 and 15 movies at a time, at various phases. You know, some are in editorial, some are in finishing, some are in visual effects, some are in audio prep. But you know, we have very strong relationships and a very loyal customer base, and you know, we're in fact, a number of our films are the second or third film with the same producers. So
Mhm.
you know, we're doing good, and very thankful and grateful for that, especially in these times.
I remember during the when the pandemic started, Chris and I were uh, you know, I think we were optimistic because we were in the independent film space, and that
Mm-hmm.
even though big Hollywood has shut down, there are so many projects, that so many independent filmmakers who are in the middle or the end of their projects, and the pandemic just became the perfect time to get their films out and to be seen.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and even the strikes were that way. And I think weirdly enough, we did some of our best business during the pandemic than we did at other times.
And you know, and a lot of amazing scripts were written during the pandemic. You know, people finally got had the time to write that script that they've always wanted to write, or polish or finish a script that they've been putting off because of you know, being busy with production. So you know, there was some things about the pandemic that helped, um, you know, a lot of projects in certain ways, creatively and just time wise.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and no matter what happens to Hollywood, you know, independent film, it's anyone can do it nowadays. It's so much easier to make a film, and you know, and that's where you guys come in to help elevate
Yeah.
films, and bring. To me, it's always the idea of you're just starting out, you've got limited resources, and to be able to have a service like yours to go to just elevate your film to the next level, I think that's what makes it really well.
Yeah, and that's what's most rewarding, when we're working on a film where the filmmakers, because a lot of them don't know what they're getting into or what their film can become because they just haven't gone there yet. But it's really nice to see, the surprise in these directors and with these producers when they, maybe step into a premix and they've been sitting with their project for, months on end in editorial with very minimal audio and not great looking picture because it's just in the Avid or Premiere. And when they get to come into, like, for example, a premix, and all of a sudden for the first time they hear all the Foley and all the sound design and the dialogue clean and all the score from the composer being placed. And it's sort of like for the first time they get to see what their film can become.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always great to be a part of that, to be, a real contributor to the creative and, like you said, to elevate a movie,
Yeah. Or more so to deliver for them the film that was in their head.
Yeah. I don't know if any films actually finish in the same way that the director saw it in their head, unless, maybe it's Spielberg or something. But a lot of independent filmmakers, I think they have an idea in their head. They get on set and it sort of shifts a little on set, and then they get in a post and like, okay. But it seems to always, be different and most often better than what they had in their head,
All right. Well, okay. So you have a film that was at Toronto. I think it was Vice is Broken.
Yeah, we worked on a film for quite a long time called Vice is Broke, about the rise and fall of the Vice media empire. So it's just a fantastic film that we're excited about. My wife and I went down to TIFF and got to experience that again. Another film also that we're excited about that just got released is a film called Continue, which is a film we did the majority of the post on. I'm an executive producer on it with Cassian Elways, who he did Dallas Buyers Club and Lee Daniels, the butler. Like, he's a fantastic man.
Yeah, we're very familiar with Cassian.
Yeah. So he's a real champion of female filmmakers, and he helped to shepherd this film into reality with the writer and director Nadine Crocker, who's been making the rounds lately in press, promoting this film called Continue. And that's a film we're all really proud of. It has a real good message, a strong message. It's an intense film. I would recommend that people see that.
What is it about?
So it's streaming. It's about a girl who is basically, it's about suicide. It's really intense, but it's beautifully done. It's about the relationships and drug use, and it's I don't want to give it away, but it's just a really great film. It's worth seeing. It's a very powerful film, very intense film, very well directed, well cut. It looks great. It sounds great. The acting is phenomenal. So really enjoyed that film. And we have a number of other films too that are coming out. We just did a film called Crescent City, starring Alec Baldwin and Terrence Howard and Isai Morales. That was a great one to work on. But yeah, all films sort of in that space, and we have a lot of great stuff coming up too. So we're excited about that. But yeah, can't talk too much about the upcoming stuff. Don't want to jinx it, and I got some NDAs going on, but yeah, it's going to be a great last quarter of this year for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are here to support independent film. Hollywood is just we've always felt they've gotten too big to fail, and they're failing spectacularly. And we need some really indie films.
Yeah, great. That's for sure.
All right. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I appreciate you talking with me, JIJO. Hopefully we'll see you at Award this year.
Yeah, definitely. Let's definitely connect about that. love to be a part of that again.